वक्रतुण्डः सूर्पकर्णो हेरम्बः स्कन्दपूर्वजः शुक्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये यस्यद्वरदवक्त्राद्याः पारिषद्याः परस्ततम् विघ्नं निघ्नन्ति सततं विश्वक्सेनं तमाश्रये गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुसाक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. With Bhagavan's grace, let's continue. We saw how the 5 aspects of yama lead to the very first aspect of niyama, right? Then we came up to slokam number 54 in section 2. Then we talked about niyama, we covered niyama, and then about pranayama. There are 4 types of pranayama, and then at that point the mind gains the power of dharana to do pratyahara, and then it gets the power of concentration, right? And yesterday I sent you some information on what concentration is, what meditation is, and what samadhi is. Dharana, dhyana, and samadhi have to be properly understood. In our common terminology, we use meditation very loosely. That is not what meditation is. Dhyanam, we are going to see that. And prior to that, there is a focus of the step of concentration. And before concentration can happen, or before mind is able to focus on a given thing, whatever it may be, right? And if it can do that continuously without wavering on anything, because Bhagavan is there in everything. And this is the beauty. All the forms really lead to the formless. So anything you take, thought or any object or favorite form of Bhagavan, whatever it is, the mind can just stay on it without wavering away, without any other thought for 12 seconds. That is called one dharana. And then 12 dharanas make one dhyana. And if you do 12 dhyanam, then you attain samadhi. That is what Ramana Maharshi did. So now, before that dharana comes, before that mind can focus on one thing for 12 seconds continuously, before that, there is called pratyahara. That means mind has to be withdrawn from all other external happenings, the dance that goes on. Now, for the mind to be able to withdraw it properly and sincerely and truthfully, the pranayama, the swasam, the breath that goes in and out and that gets stopped at will, that has to be practiced. For that to be practiced, we have to have certain discipline, which is what niyama is, right? Mm-hmm. And for the 5 steps of niyama, that let me cover that again for you so that there is no confusion. Okay. So the first is saucham, purity of mind, purity of physical body, purity of the environment that we keep ourselves in at any time, purity of the food that we take, so purity. So that saucham automatically comes. The beauty is, if we practice one of the yamas, which will come through, I'm taking it backwards now. One of the yamas, automatically the saucham will come, the inclination, because Bhagavan will guide and enhance. He will make sure that your surroundings are clean. He will make sure that your food is clean. All those things take place. And the moment the mind becomes pure, right? All this will come to serve you. So the first is saucham. And then next is what is known as santosham. Santosha buddhi, the prasada buddhi, one of contentment. Seriously, one of contentment. Regardless of whatever dances we make, whatever claims that we all make, we get our own sense of self-importance, and we assign our own importance to money, to power, to position, to popularity. All these things are, whatever we do, they're all ephemeral. They're all transitory. They go away. So the one pure permanent thing is what happens to each one of us. To me, it doesn't depend upon what I want or what I don't want. It is a prasadam from Bhagavan. Truly, that is the truth. What happens or what does not happen, both are prasadams. Because Bhagavan knows what is best for us. When one gets that awareness and receives everything and moves about everything and accepts everything in true joy, not acceptance out of a sense of helplessness. No. Not acceptance with a sense of, fear. Not accepting something in a sense of disappointment. No. Or even expectation. Actually, acceptance purely, this is Bhagavan's gift. Bhagavan is talking to me. That awareness comes, that is contentment. And contentment is a result of Vinayam. And I mentioned to you, the very first thing in receiving any knowledge is Vinayam. Vinayam and Shraddha. Without Vinayam, nothing can be achieved. And our sense of arrogance, our sense of self-importance, our sense of selfishness, all these are opposed to Vinayam. Vinayam is when you become aware of the play of Bhagavan and everything. Oh, what a miraculous thing it is. Ascharyam, as Bhagavad Gita says, right? And then you really, this is what it is. So Bhagavan is taking place. So that gives you a sense of humility. And with that awareness comes contentment. Automatically. Contentment is automatic. Very santosham is a very important attribute. Now, the moment you develop that awareness, automatically you get saucham. The purity comes in. Along with that, it will automatically descend. But if you have purity, then automatically contentment will come. So they are not different from one another. Then tapas, which is the discipline of purifying our mental agitations, right? What is right, what is wrong, right? And taking it in the beneficial path. Yet shreyat nischyam tad bhruyati me is what Arjuna tells Krishna, right? What is good for me, you teach me that. What is good for me, not necessarily pleasant, right? So that shreyas, that internal purification we go through in our mental agitations, which again will result in saucham, which will result in santosham. All these are all one aspect, a different aspect of the same thing. So the tapas is another thing in niyama. Then swadhyayam. So how do I do tapas? What is my direction? What should I do? Okay, swadhyayam. The scriptural teachings are there. Manmana bhava, mat bhakto, the mamekam sharanam brajaya. Whatever you want to take from Bhagavan's teaching, that you put that into practice, that becomes tapas. And that results to purity and santosham. So swadhyayam and Ishvara pranidhanani. Swadhyayam cannot be done independent of the company of Bhagavan. Then you get just an empty talk. Okay? And this is where we covered in Bhagavatam also. Rishi, the Narada advises very strongly. You must discriminate and ensure you have the right guru. No, you should not go after anybody and everybody who makes noise, and should not be taken in by people's external dresses and appearances. No, they don't mean anything. Does the person have sense control? Does the person have mind control? Does the person have it does not have selfishness? Is he really for the welfare of people, or is he after money? Okay, these are questions you have to ask yourself. If you don't do that, it will be difficult to be in the company of Bhagavan. Ishvara pranidhanani. That is why Adi Shankara, so many people have given us so many things, right? So we listen to them, keep the company of Bhagavan, then automatically swadhyayam takes place, tapas takes place, santosham, all these things take place. With that company of the Bhagavan, when the mind becomes calm, then pranayamam. Automatically it happens. The moment you focus on Bhagavan, your breath automatically comes into control. But because we don't keep the company of Bhagavan, then we do the other crutches. Try to control our breath physically, which is okay. You control your breath, then that also calms your mind down. Nothing wrong in that. So then, but your focus should be Isvara Pranidhanani. That is the most important. Then as we progress in that, with the company of keeping the company of Bhagavan within us, either the form or the formless, it really doesn't matter. Okay, and start with the form is what Krishna advises because it's easier. Then automatically pratyaharam takes place. Mind, withdraws. It does not mean that you don't deal with the things out in the outside world. You still eat, you still see where you walk. All those things are there, but you're not concerned. You're really not attached to it. I mean, right now you're sitting in this room, there are so many objects here, but you're not concerned about them. Even though you know the chair is there, you're not attached to the chair. It's like that. Life goes on and you're not attached to anything. Pratyaharam takes place because you're focused on Bhagavan. The moment you focus attached to Bhagavan, the detachment takes place. The vairagyam automatically takes place. At that point, your mind becomes fit to do concentration, dharana, to be able to focus on a given object. 12 seconds, it sounds so big. Why worry about 12 seconds? We'll start with 1 second, half a second. But it becomes fit for that. As you practice, you become stronger and stronger. That is the pathway. Okay? So, that takes us to dharana. So, we call the third section. Here, the Rishi is going to talk about the various powers that reveal from within as you focus on this path, because you yourself, each one of us ourselves, is nothing but God, nothing but divine, nothing but selfless love. As I manifest more and more of it, as I embrace more and more of it, it starts manifesting itself. At that time, automatically, the omnipotent, the all-powerful is Bhagavan, is selfless love only. So naturally, when that gets revealed from you, whatever form it decides to do, slowly, progressively, all at once, whatever it does, continuously at some point, doesn't matter, the powers are enormous. So you will see, you'll be able to see the future, so-called what we call as future, what is going to happen. All these things will happen. Okay, the different powers will come from within. That is what will be covered in this section. Desa bandhaha chittasya dharana is what Patanjali Rishi tells us. What is dharana? You've been so kind to define everything precisely. Whatever terms we are using has been defined very clearly and precisely and succinctly, without any confusion by the Rishi. So, dharana, what is it? Desabandhaha chittasya dharana. Desam means place. Bandha means attachment. Right? Mm-hmm. Putting it in a simple way. So what is place? What is the chittasya? What is the desa for the chittam? In this case, chittam means mind. So what is the place for the mind, sir? Where is your mind? No, immediately we think our brain. No, brain is not the mind. The mind is all over the body. But is it all over the body only? Mind is wherever what you perceive with your senses. If I perceive something with my eye, my mind is goes there, right? If I perceive something with my ear, mind is there. So that is desa bandham. Chittasya. So whatever the mind gets attached to, stay there. Okay? So we call it focus in English. But this is even a more precise explanation of what happens. Keep the mind wherever it is and stay there. Chittasya desa bandha, that is dharana, that is the concentration. Move away from the English word. Okay? And this is so true when you are working on a problem on Excel spreadsheet, for example, or trying to do cooking or whatever you do. When you're focused on doing an action, what happens to your mind? Mind is staying there. So we are all practicing dharana, but we are practicing it with desire and so many. That is different. While you are practicing dharana, your mind is peaceful. You may be under a time pressure to complete a piece of work. So you are under stress. You put yourself under stress. The work doesn't stress you. You put yourself under stress. Time does not stress you, but you think it has to be done by a certain time. So you're under stress. You are under pressure. You start the work. But when you do the work, there is no stress because you're focused on it. Correct? So during dharana, that is focus. Okay? And then at the end of doing the work, you may not get the result or whatever it is. You may get praise or whatever. That another stress comes in. But when you are engaged in an activity, you're fully with it. So the dharana is a natural trait of the mind. Even though another natural trait of the mind is it goes all over the place. But it is also got the power to stay at a given place for a long time. Like a piece of knife can be used to stab somebody, can be also used to do surgical precision and make a cut and make cure. It can be used for both purposes, both for good and bad. So we should use the mind for the good. Stay at that place. Desa bandha, dharana. Okay? Desa bandha, chittasya dharana. Number 2, tatra pratyaya ekatanata dhyanam. Now he is going to defining dhyanam straight away. Now we saw that if you are able to stay at a desa bandham for 12 seconds continuously without blinking your eye, the mind is, this is beautiful. You can practice it now after the class. I guarantee you will succeed. You look at a statue of Krishna, you look at a picture, you look at an object, you look at a book, it doesn't matter. Look at your finger. It doesn't really matter. You keep on looking at it. Or look at yourself in the mirror. Go and look at don't blink your eye, don't think any thoughts. Just look at yourself in the mirror and the pupil of your eye without blinking and see what happens. That object will disappear. Slowly it will start disappearing. It will happen because it is formless only. Now, if I am able to do that for 12 seconds, that is dhyanam. Okay? This is what Ramana Maharshi did. He focused on a thought. You can focus on a thought. That's also Bhagavan. That is Vasudeva Swarupam. We saw that in Bhagavatam, right? So, it will disappear. That is dhyanam. Tatra pratyaya ekatanata dhyanam. Ekatanata means attention fixed on only one thing only. Only that. Ekam. Nothing else. Pratyaya, not pratyaya. Pratyaya ekatanata. Pratyaya means something that is the basis of, that is fixed firmly to the root. Okay? So, now you understand in a simple language that as Swami has taught us, 12 dharanas equal to 1 dhyanam. Right? You understand that. How it is fixed only on that. Right? So, Satra afterwards, from that, from dharana, pratyaya ekatanata dhyanam. Okay? Tad eva arthamatra nirbhasam swarupa sunyam iva samadhi. Tad eva. From there only, 12 dhyanam equals samadhi in terms of how long it took for Bhagavan in Trivikrama Swarupam, when we all know he measured the whole universe with 1 foot. He didn't measure as if he was not there. He was already present everywhere. But for the Bhagavan's feet to manifest itself all over the universe so that we could see, it took a certain time. Right? And so time is just a measure of the invisible becoming visible or visible becoming invisible. Both. Okay? Time, there is nothing called time. It is just a different transmutation. That's all. Okay? So Bhagavan, that time it took is what we call from, beginning of Thai Masam to end of Panguni. That is why our Chitra Masam is very important. Okay, by April 14th, right? On January 14th, April 14th, right? So that's the time it took for Bhagavan to, one padam to manifest. That means the invisible becomes visible. So the visible also can become invisible. It takes time. That is the meaning of why our Ayyappa thing we worship, got 18 steps. That's significant for that, right? So here, dhyanam, if I'm focusing on a given thing, even a thought is manifested. Even though we say thought is not visible to the eye, it is discernible. It is visible to our mind, right? So those are all visible things. So for it to become invisible and go back to its origin, it takes time. That is 12 dhyanams. Okay? Tat eva, from that only, tat eva arthamatra nirbhasam swarupa. Nirbhasam swarupa. Tat eva arthamatra. The essence of that, okay, of doing dhyanam will be swarupa nirbhasam. Our own natural self, our own natural form, who we really are, Swarupa. What is my form? Right? And what is my bhavam? What is Swarupam? What is Swabhavam? It is not like Bhagavan is different. Bhagavan is Swami is very much within us. Part of us is us. We are not. So this Swarupa, Nirbhasam means effulgence. Okay? Or you can say Nirbhasam also means something similar to, like something. Okay, here what happens, Swarupa Nirbhasam means the likeness of your Swarupam. Okay? That your effulgence will manifest itself. Sunyam iva. There will be nothing. And that is samadhi. That is what Rishi describes. Okay? Tad eva arthamatra nirbhasam swarupa sunyam iva samadhi. Number 4. Trayam ekatra samyamaha. Samyamaha, very important. Yamaha we saw. Okay? Right? And samyamaha. You know what sam means? Sam, the moment the word sam comes, what does it mean? It is Bhagavan's effulgence. See something, samyak drishti, samyak vachakam, samyak chintanam, samyak karma, all these things we say. This is what Buddha's teaching is. Right? Samyak. That means everything becomes that one. Right? Our problem is we all are doing differential calculus. We are not doing integral calculus in our life. Right? Everything, our mind to understand, we have to divide. Can I understand the universe whole? No. But if I understand it into a speck of sand and I put it in the microscope, I begin to understand it a little bit. But the constant integrated awareness,
the whole thing, the integration we lack. That is what this is taking us to. That samyamaha, that integrated, constant integrated awareness, that togetherness, that not together, oneness. Okay? Trayam ekatra. Trayam ekatra. Samyamaha. Trayam, these three. What three? Dharana, Dhyanam, Samadhi. Ekatra, when they are brought to bear on one thing, you decide. This is the beauty of our Sanatana Dharma, the teaching. It does not say you should worship only Vishnu, only Vasudeva, only Krishna, only Lingam, only Ambal. No. The whole universe is Bhagavan's Swarupam. You can take. That's why we worship even snakes and trees and stones, because Bhagavan is there. Sarvam sajivam. Everything is present. Bhagavan's jivan is there. This is the truth that rishis have given us. This is swadhyayam. You got to understand the scriptural teachings and first clarity and then put it into practice. Right? So Bhagavan's teaching is nectar. You cannot ignore that. You cannot take it lightly. Everything is truth. So ekam. So anything you want, you take a thought, you take a namam, Bhagavan's name, no problem. Go do, beautiful. You take Bhagavan's lotus feet in front of you, or his abhayahastam, or his prasannavadanam, whatever you want. Just focus on that. Ekam atra, that ekatra, that one thing, trayam, these three, you bring it to bear on that. Do dharana on that. Then continue to dhyanam. Then become one with it, samadhi. That is samyamaha. Okay? Trayam ekatra samyamaha. Number 5. Tat jayat prajna alokaha. Alokaha. It is coming from all directions to you. All directions. What is coming? Prajna. We talked about prajna, right, in the preliminary to before we took up the teachings, right? Atha. Jijnasu, right? We saw here. So, what is prajna? I want you to go back to your notes. And I won't cover that now, because it is very important for you to understand what prajna is. Okay? Prajna, take this as a homework. If it is not clear to you right now, okay, go back and look at. Okay? What did we cover when we said prajna? Okay? That knowledge, what knowledge is it? What experience? Knowledge equal to experience. Experience is knowledge. That's all. Don't get confused. Okay, all these people were telling me, and always when you recite Bhagavatam, for example, or share the stories and glories of Bhagavan, and people think, oh, sir, see, interpretation is very good. What interpretation? Interpretation is to do with the mind, your experience. Anubhavam is what we are talking of, right? Anubhavam is knowledge. Okay? So what is the Anubhavam we are talking of? Prajna. What is that? So that you look into that. And tat jayat, samyamaha, you bring these three to bear on any given one thing only. It is not a musical chair. Bhagavan has very clearly said, there is one simhasanam, you seat one Bhagavan there. You decide, you select what you like. Some people may like Mahavishnu, some people may like Lingam, Muruga, doesn't matter. Okay? Is Iyengar, Iyer difference and all is pure nonsense. Absolute garbage. Okay? But you cannot keep changing the forms. This is very important. You cannot keep changing the object of your focus. Okay? That is very, very important. You decide. You may like a yellow color, yellow shirt, or somebody else may like a blue shirt. Doesn't matter. Right? But you select what you like. Then your mind gets its facilitates your mind to get attached to it. Okay, but once you select, you should not waver. Come what may. Come what may. Doesn't matter what people think, what people say. You hold on to it for the dear of your life. Okay? And from that, do the dharana, the dhyanam, and become one with that. You take that object, take that form, whatever it is, take that thought or namam, whatever it is, with you all the time. Jayate, from there comes what? Prajna alokaha. You get the experience of the selfless love that is present in all directions. Tat jayat prajna alokaha. Number 6. Tasya bhumishu viniyogaha. Very important. Tat jayat ekatra trayam ekatra. Only immediately get into a... No. Calm down. In nature, everything has its time for evolution. Even Bhagavan's lotus feet to manifest itself, it took a certain amount of time. For a rice to boil, it takes a certain amount of time. For a fetus to grow, it takes a certain amount of time. For the sapling to come from the ground, from the seed, it takes a certain amount of time. You should not hurry things. You should go with the algorithm of nature. That is what the warning on this sutra is. Okay? You don't be in too much of a hurry and say, because then that is what a rakshasa is. That's what anger within us is. Anger grows so fast, doesn't it? Right? So no, that is not correct. Okay, that is not beneficial. Do you understand? So do the dharanam first with Shraddha and Vinayam, with a Santosha mindset, okay, holding on to Bhagavan. Let it guide you at the speed, like the way a sapling comes out from the seed. Who's guiding that? There is a natural force. Bhagavan is guiding. He will guide. The selfless love that I want to embrace will guide me and reveal itself to me at the speed and the stages that it decides is best for me. Okay? That's very, very important to understand. Very important to understand that point. And tasya bhumishu viniyogaha. Viniyogaha means apply. Application. Application of this teaching of dharanam, of dhyanam and samadhi, all the things the Rishi just teaches us. He immediately gives, hey, viniyogaha, listen, you apply all this teaching. Tasya bhumishu. The bhumishu here does not mean earth. Bhumishu means stage. Okay? Stage by stage, progressively. Don't be in a hurry. Okay? Have the discipline, patience. It will come, but don't give up. Okay? There will be obstacles. Just like anything that we want to do in life will have its obstacles. Obstacles is like a mental exercise. Like physically we go and lift weights. Obstacles are weights that our mind lifts so that it becomes strong. So, whatever it is, let it come. But obstacle is also a blessing. Because that means an obstacle comes, that is the clearest sign that it takes me one step closer to Bhagavan's lotus feet. Because I think of Bhagavan. The obstacle is not there, I don't think of Bhagavan. So, right? So, welcome all that. But persevere. Tasya bhumishu, very important, viniyogaha. You apply that progressively, stage by stage. The implicit is, don't be in a hurry. This is not a microwave cooking. Okay? It has to be the natural cooking. Rice has to take 40 minutes to boil. No minute rice, no 20 minutes cooking. Okay? This is the beauty. Another thing is, interesting thing is, it is also, there is no reheating involved in this. Seriously, looking at a cooking analogy, if you cook something and you put it back, we put it back in the microwave, 1 minute, 2 minutes, and then we eat and go. Then we have to reheat it. No. This thing stays hot where you left it. at the same temperature in this spiritual journey. This is the beauty. Bhagavan himself says in Bhagavad Gita, don't worry. Okay? So even if I had taken one step 100 janmans before, if I start it now, I will start exactly where I left off. It will automatically be there. This is the beauty of this journey. Okay? So don't be in a hurry. Go stage by stage. Tasya bhumishu viniyogaha. Now, the Trayam antaha angam purvebhyaha. No, he says Trayam antaha angam purvebhyaha. Antaha means we immediately think it's inside. What is inside? Inside is what is direct. That is part of you. That is closer to you. Correct? Bahihi means outside. Outside means something that is not with you. That is indirect. That is why anubhavam is very important. Anubhavam is direct. That is why anubhavam is knowledge. Whereas intellectual understanding is external. It is never direct. It is indirect. So it has always got an element of doubt. You are never sure. Isn't it? Whereas anubhavam, you are 100% sure, certain. Agreed? So antaha means that directness, that closeness. Okay? So, trayam antaha purvebhyaha angam. Or trayam angaha antaha purvebhyaha antaha angam. Purvebhyaha angam. What is now, remember, he said ashta angam. He told us. There are 8 limbs to this yoga. So far he has talked about 5 plus 3. He says purvebhyaha angam, the 5 angas described earlier, yama, niyama, asanam, pranayamam, pratyaharam. Those are, compared to that, trayam angam antaha. These 3 limbs are more direct, most direct. That is, these are anubhavam. That's the meaning of this. Okay? Trayam antaha angam purvebhyaha. Okay? Number 8. Tat api bahihi angam nirbijasya. Very important. Rishi already talked about 4 types of samadhi. Correct? Earlier. You got to go back and revise your lessons. This is not to be taken lightly. Patanjali Yoga Sutra is very good to hear, and we're taking notes on it, but we have to revise, we have to review. Okay, it is a very exalted knowledge. Okay, and of course I'm absolutely not qualified to share, but I'm telling you whatever Bhagavan puts in my mind and share. That's all. So each one of us has to take every one of it and understand. So when he says, okay, nirbhijasya, we talked about a samadhi, being one with the object or thought or feeling or whatever that I focus on, right? I still have what? Desires. So long as there is kamam, that is the seed. Kamam is the seed for everything. Correct. Right? We saw that in Narayana Upanishad. Correct? Very first. So long as even when Taittiriya Upanishad also says, as you go through progressively, you can go to the next level only when you give up the desire. So the desire should not be there. Even Bhagavan tells Narada, okay, when comes as an asariri, when he does the tapas, he says, in spite of all the things that Narada has done, and he is being taught by none other than the Chatvaris, the 4 greatest Brahma Rishis there is, and in spite of that, in spite of his giving up all worldly relations and and doing the Shodasa Mantram and all that, Bhagavan said, sorry. See, you still haven't got it, my friend, because you think you have to walk all the way from that little house to this forest in order to find me. I'm everywhere. Simple point. So you cannot fool Bhagavan. This is the important thing. So he decides what to do. He says, I'm sorry, you cannot get my darshan. This is exactly what he says. So this desire, but Bhagavan tells one thing. In this Kali Yuga, in this beautiful thing, Bhagavatar Purushan has said, yes, but it's impossible, if not extremely difficult. It's extremely difficult, if not impossible, to have zero desire. So don't go for it. So you are deflated even before you take the first step. How is it possible? I mean, the journey must be, doable, right? Otherwise, how will you undertake the journey? So he gives the assurance. No, don't worry. I'll give you an allowance. You can have the desire to want me and want me only. That desire is okay. This is okay. So let us go on that basis. So we are not, as Ramakrishna Paramahamsa says, you're not trying to eliminate desire. No, that's wrong. You're not trying to eliminate anger. No, that's wrong. You cannot eliminate anything in this world. You have to see it as a Swarupam of Bhagavan. Everything, even the so-called bad things or evil thought or whatever, you see it as a Swarupam of Bhagavan. That's what Rudram teaches us. Right? So everything. But the moment you see it as a Swarupam Bhagavan, what do? Your mind is thinking of Bhagavan only. You keep the company of Bhagavan. That's what he wants. Manmana Bhava. So he says, Nirbijasya. This samadhi, so when you understand prajna, you will understand that is still got bijam. Bijam, that little bit of desire is left. That identification of with your body is still remaining. Okay? You see that I am the seer, that I am is still there. That is what bijam is. The residual seed is there. So, tat api bahihi angam nirbijasya. Bahihi means it is external. You have not achieved it yet. You are not close to it. Even then, this samyamaha, this samadhi that he is talking about is nirbijasya. It is not connected with a samadhi that has no desire. It is not a desireless state yet. Okay? So he's giving in bits and pieces the progress. Tat api bahihi angam nirbijasya. We will stop here today because next one, now we are getting into very simple things only from one angle, but it could also be complex. So want to make sure that there's clarity, there's no confusion. Let's go step by step. Okay? So dharanam, dhyanam, samadhi. Approach this with the Sanskrit words, not with English words. The moment you use English words, your mind will go back to the incorrect, loose understanding that we employ in our daily life. It is not meditation. Even regardless of all the whatever happening on the commercial side, that's not what meditation is. And this is something that nobody can teach. As Bhagavan says very clearly, if you read the information I sent you yesterday, you will see that it is no book, nobody can teach. No teacher, no one. It has to be a self-effort, and the indweller within, the truth, or Atma, whatever, prema, selfless love, whatever we call it, that entity is the only one that can teach and guide. All it is looking for is for us to hold its hand. You look to me, I look to you, is what Shirdi Baba says. So if I look to the indweller is looking to me. Then the pathway will come. So then the dharana, it automatically will come. Then dhyanam and samadhi. And honestly speaking, this, whether nirbijam, whether it is without seed, and those are all only mind related. Who cares, really? Sabari didn't worry about it, Meera didn't worry about it, Radha didn't worry about it, Dhruva didn't worry about it, Tyagaraja didn't worry about it. Nobody. Tulasidas, you focus on Bhagavan. That's why Ishvara Pranidhanani. That is the only thing that's important. But this is what happens in that process. Okay, of merging with Bhagavan. Right? And as a firefly goes towards the fire, and we see it, we calculate, measure the life of a firefly in minutes compared to our lifespan. Right? But the mountain may measure our lifespan in terms of minutes only compared to its lifespan. Maybe seconds, maybe milliseconds. Right? But regardless of that, if you are a firefly and all of us are going towards the fire only, we have to realize it, okay, just at different speeds. But even different speeds are, in our understanding, only Bhagavan knows, right? And in his play, maybe there is no speed. But you will put yourself as a firefly and you're going towards the fire. What happens? It takes a certain amount of time. Whatever time maybe. From the point you start until the point you go and immerse and dissolve in the fire itself, as you approach it, what happens? You experience the heat. Right? The light is what's attracting you, not the heat. Right? But light is what's attracting you. That's what the effulgence. But the heat is there. What does the heat do? Heat is nothing but tapas. Tapa means hot. What is the one that being hot? When that heat pulverizes all the impurities we have, our mind has. So naturally, as I get closer to the fire, my heat will only increase, which means the purification process is stronger. All the residual impurities pertaining to selfishness, that they are reflected. What are the obstacles in the world? Only the obstacles are reflections of our selfishness only. If you're selfless, there is no obstacle for you, because nature is selfless. Because I obstruct it, I get obstacles. So now the difficulties and obstacles associated with this worldly life will become only more and more as you get closer to the fire. That is why you will find every single devotee has gone through tremendous, what we call as difficulties and what we call as miseries associated with the life on this world. But they didn't see it that way, because they were focused only on Bhagavan's lotus feet. So they didn't see it. But for us, looking at it outside, oh my God, how much they are suffering. For them there was no suffering. But this is a process each one of us will go through, is going through with Bhagavan's grace. Please remember that. So Nirbijam, these are all, yes, he explains, but they're all not important. What is important is Ishvara Pranidhanani, and that focus, that itself will take all that. Okay? So putting it, whatever I learned from Swami, I'm sharing with you. And he will also teach you. And in this thing, you could go through those information I sent yesterday, and that will benefit you immensely. Just don't read it lightly, read it several times. You think you may have understood. If you have really understood, then the moment I said prajna, you all should know what prajna means. So that means it's a process we have to go through and educate ourselves. Don't take it lightly. Okay, it's a very serious matter. Because without Bhagavan's grace, he would not have selected and all of us to be here. So we have to be grateful for that. So correspondingly, I have to do my work. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om.